Welcome back to this video series working with scenario management in Visum and PTV Hub. My name is Anett Ehlert and I'll guide you through the various aspects of scenario management in our software. So in this part, we focus on testing the influence of different parameter values during the calculation of a model. So this can be useful in the process of developing a model or during calibration. So for example, this can be settings for convergence of a private transport assignment or when calibrating trip distributions or mode choice in a demand model or any other parameter that is used in a procedure. So this can be done using the so-called procedure variables. In our example, we now test this for a parameter in the timetable-based assignment. More specifically, we will vary the coefficient for the number of transfers. And then we will see what influence that has on the average number of transfers in the network and the average write time in the entire network. So that means we will also define two other scenario indicators. So we start by defining a new procedure parameter set. We duplicate that and use here only the public transport assignment. So we edit the parameter set, we disable the private transport assignment. So, and what we would like to do now is we would like to use different values for this coefficient here. So we will use, for example, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and 15 minutes and see then the effect in the calculated scenarios. So we can also display the value of this parameter. So we can add that to the grid here by accessing the timetable-based assignment, the impedance, and then we could have here several, but in our case we have only one demand segment, and here we select the number of transfers, the coefficient, and we can display that here, and here we can see that this is expressed in seconds and it is an integer value without the units. So procedure variables are also defined as part of the procedure parameter set. So that means we can access procedure variables via the calculate menu, definitions, and then we add a procedure variable. We call that coefficient for number of transfer. This will be an integer value, and we will select the corresponding procedure. So that means in that case our public transport assignment. And now we access the parameter that we would like to vary. So it is in the impedance tab. And again, we choose the number of transfers, the coefficient. So now we have only the definition. The value of the parameter will be defined later. So with that, we are finished with our procedure parameter set. Now we go back to the scenarios, and now we would like to create multiple scenarios using different values for our procedure variable. So we can use the create new scenarios icon here. We can define a base code for the scenarios that we would like to create. These are do something, public transport 2030, test coefficient for number of transfers. We will also add the modification if you would like to see. As before, If we include the third modification, the first is included automatically. We select the procedure parameter set, public transport assignment, and here we already see our procedure variable. So now we can define the values for the procedure parameter sets. We would like to start with 300, so that corresponds to 5 minutes. We will increment that. We will go up to 900, so that is 15 minutes by increments of 300. So now we can see here that 3 scenarios will be created. So now our new scenarios are created. They get the corresponding procedure parameter set assigned, and here at the end we see also the value of the procedure variable. So we can add that or put that a bit higher. So you can also edit the procedure variable in this grid. And before calculating the scenarios, I would like to add some more scenario indicators in order to see the effect of that variation. So this time we access the public transport statistics. And more specifically, the mean ride time and the mean number of transfers. So again, we can also here choose shorter names. So we get here the mean number of transfers. And we can see the indicators here again in the list of scenarios. So all we need to do now is to calculate our 3 scenarios with the different parameter settings. So we select the scenarios and press the calculate button. The scenarios are calculated now. And then we will check the effects on our 2 new scenario indicators. So we will change here the number of decimal places. So, and as you can see, we get the expected results. The mean number of transfers is reduced with a greater coefficient. So if you have here 900, the number of transfers is smaller. And also we can see that passengers avoid transfers, but they accept longer ride times instead. So the ride time is increased here, whereas the number of transfers is reduced. So that is basically something we expected from that variation. So in this way, you can test different parameter settings in a number of scenarios, and you can calculate the scenarios and in the end choose the parameter settings that you would like to keep. So at the end of this part, I would like to summarize the learnings. We have seen how to define procedure variables as part of the procedure parameter set. Then we have created multiple scenarios with varying values for the procedure variable. And finally, we have seen how you can evaluate the results using scenario indicators.